our challenge to you today, or our suggestion to you, is spend a bit of time with your partner testing out what your goals are, what your visions are, where you overlap, where you're shared. So we talked that when we were choosing commitment, we knew we had the big ones in line. Mm-hmm. We knew what we wanted from a potential family looking forward, kids or not. We knew sort of the active lifestyle we wanted to live, the travel we wanted to do, the type of place we wanted to live, rural or city or whatever. We had shared goals in that. We knew that education was important to us. We knew that careers were important to us. We knew that we were going to spend a great deal of effort building our relationship, but also building our individual careers and being strong individuals inside a marriage. So our pen to paper is to challenge you to have some of those conversations. And yeah, if you're early on in relationships, maybe you don't need those. But if you're starting to consider commitment, or if you're hesitant and you're like, do I really want to commit? Our challenge to you would be have those conversations about shared goals. Want to add anything to that?
I was thinking about that earlier, is making sure that we said, because I think it's so, we knew we were starting on the same foundation because we talked about it. This wasn't we didn't get married and then say, so how many kids do you want? Or, what do you feel about debt? We had these discussions before. Of course, there's stuff that came up. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, maybe moving across the country, but you have to start somewhere. And I think there are a lot of things that need to be discussed before you say, I do. And not everybody covers all that.
There are a handful of areas. The number's like 7 or so, and I'm not going to hit them all because, I didn't prep for this. But there's something like 7 areas that if you are aligned with your spouse, or as you're choosing, if you're aligned on these big ticket items, your divorce rate plummets. Like you will stay together. And off the top of my head, I'm not going to hit them all, but it's kids, to have them or not, how many kids to have, religion. Are you religious? How are you going to raise your kids if you're having religion? Finances, in-laws, how close, how far, how often. We talked a little bit about that in our first episode. That was something we had to learn how to balance. I got 4 of the 5. We manage a lot of these things. I'd have to think about them. Social, do you have a social circle, et cetera. But if you're aligned on those big ones, then your divorce rate, your chances of success in commitment and marriage just skyrocket. Yeah. So aligned goals, to your point, have those conversations before you commit. You're going to go into this in the next episode. You have a lot of clients that you help deal with divorce and moving through and how do they get out of relationships. And very often there were signs that they just didn't have those conversations. They just didn't spend the time. So not everything is rosy and perfect in marriage, and not saying that having those conversations early is going to knock them all out, but man, you can knock some of the big ones out. So Absolutely. Have those conversations, people. Talk your goals,